We're live! Hey guys! I am so happy. It has been way too long since I have had this queen on my channel. You've only been on like once before, which is a crime. But I'm so happy to have you back. Everyone, welcome Mrs. Keri Smith.
Hello. It's Mrs. Keri Garcia now, which
because you're the only person I know who's had a good 2021. She got married.
Oh, I did have a good 2021. I did.
You're the only one.
That's not true. I know people have had good 2021s. It's
really?
It's a good mix of good and bad, and then taking the bad and figuring out what you're learning from it so you can kind of make it good, which I know some people think is just spinning it for yourself, but who cares if that's what it is? It helps you. I think it helps you live better to do that. So anyway, yeah, you were here. I can't believe it was like 6 months ago. You were here for my wedding.
I know. I've been to Texas twice. Everyone was right though about. I love Texas, but I think everyone was right that Austin is kind of like meh.
Austin is, I think, lost. So any wrong thinkers who are thinking of moving here, I've hosted people recently who've I just met from Twitter or what have you, who are like, oh, I'm thinking of moving to Texas and I want to come visit. And some of them they might have job opportunities in Austin. And I was telling them, that's fine, but don't live there. You can live like outside of Austin and help us sort of fortify the towns around Austin and still commute. You know, that would be my preference, but I get it if you want to live there. It's more like, if you're coming from New York or LA, it's definitely going to feel more comfortable for you being in Austin than it would be in one of the neighboring towns.
By the way, I have to say hi to all of our people that are here. Hey, Maddie, Leah, Esteban, Jeremy, Peter's here. Oh my God.
Hi, Peter. Hi, guys.
Peter doing this thing. Sorry, one sec.
Talk for a sec. I'm talking. I can't see the chat. I'm trying to pull it up because look, if you guys don't watch Unsafe Space, you won't know this, but we're in between houses, my husband and I. And so long story short, all the furniture is gone from this place. It had to be taken out so they could show it. And so there's like an echo here. There's the lighting is bad now because there's nothing for it to bounce off of. And I'm literally, some guy on YouTube was like, Keri, in the meantime, you should put your microphone in a cardboard box. So I have this cardboard box here that I've got the microphone sitting in just to see if that works. So fingers crossed.
Okay, can you see me? This thing, for some reason, OBS decided the past like 2-3 weeks that they just they hate me. So
you're back. I can see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Sorry. Anyway, though, hi everyone. We have super chats and stuff. I'm so glad you guys are here. I haven't done one of these in a while.
Yeah, like look, I recognize a lot of people here. There's C Jones. Hi. Why don't we just hang out? I was looking forward to hanging out with people. I've got a cold.
Yes.
I don't know if it's Omicron and I'm not going to get tested, but I actually don't know if I trust them when they say you can I've already had COVID. I don't know if I trust them when they say you can have it more than once. I just don't trust anything anymore. That's all. I don't want to get you banned.
Same. I was sick all last week and I wouldn't go get tested. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but yeah. I don't trust any of the tests or anything.
So when I had COVID, we did an at-home test, and I did that just to confirm what we pretty much already knew because it felt so different than anything else. But I didn't want to go in and be tested at one of these clinics because I didn't want to add to their numbers because they use all these case numbers to alarm people. This many cases, and I just didn't want to be a part of one of their case numbers. So we did take one then. Oh, you're fine. I'll just talk about the coof while you do that.
Yeah.
So this time though, I'm not. I just think it's. We used to have colds. Like I used to get a cold every January and February, and we just didn't talk about it. And it was kind of a normal thing that we would get sick and not make a big deal about it. But now I think everybody, if you're like me, you get a cold and you're thinking, oh, what else? What is it? Could it be that? And I just had to let that go. Be like, whatever. It's a cold. It'll be gone soon.
Yeah, I had a cold this last week, and I was going to get tested at first because the first day or two I was like, oh my God, am I dying? Whatever. And then I was just like, no, I'm fine now. Like,
yeah. Am I dying?
I'm at the point too where I distrust all of it, less so the test than the Will they smite me if I say the word? Less the test than the V word. But
yeah.
At this point, I distrust them so much that it wouldn't surprise me if there was something in it that makes people sick.
And it's perfectly reasonable to distrust them. That's the weird thing, is that we're supposed to pretend now that that a reasonable person wouldn't distrust the media and the so-called experts. But if you look at how many times they've flip-flopped and they've changed what they're telling us, it's a ridiculously long list. I mean, most recently, I just saw the CDC is now saying that you don't have to isolate anymore after you've had COVID, because the PCR test can show a false positive for up to 12 weeks. This is the head of the CDC said this, for up to 12 weeks. And you guys are just now figuring that out. And how many people have been isolating for, 3 weeks, 4 weeks at a time?
Well, and now they're admitting that cloth masks do nothing. They're admitting, which I'm very skeptical of this sudden change of heart that it seems they're having. I don't know if it's their polling numbers or what.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. It's some kind of pivot for sure in the messaging, because now if I've just seen clips from CNN and some of the other channels, they're all the talking heads on CBS, CNN, MSNBC. They're all now, like you said, they're criticizing cloth masks. They're saying you don't have to isolate afterwards anymore. They're actually belittling, like downgrading the severity of the way they even talk about COVID. And all of that's new.
Biden said it's up to the states, and then that Jennifer Rubin woman, who's some Democrat operative, had said, "Oh, we don't need to pay attention to cases anymore. Let's look at deaths," which is what we've been saying this whole time.
That's what's weird.
They instituted the mandates in New York. The average 7-day average of cases of deaths, was 5, I think.
Wow, Mikey.
Or 7, and it's gone up, in Los Angeles, since they've had the vaccine mandate and the mask mandate. Cases are up, I think, over 660%. The numbers are about the same here. So that's what I've been saying, is even put aside the morality of all the mandates, they don't work.
Yeah, they're not working, but they just double down on it. I think one of the things I've been thinking about in the back of my mind is, how are they going to tell the story of what happened? 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
Ooh, that's a good point.
I was wondering, I don't think they're going to tell the story. It's not going to be told as, the country was gripped by mass paranoia and mass hysteria and ushered in a lot of authoritarian policies. I don't think that's the story they're going to tell. I think they're going to tell a story of, we all made great sacrifices. And I've seen this now in the way that the New York Times and other these cathedral outlets are now saying things like, "Oh, wow, look at the psychological harm that children have suffered as a result of lockdowns and masks." And
you don't say.
Yeah, we've been saying that since the beginning, and you guys belittled us and called us granny killers for even asking the question, what if we don't know what this is doing to kids, right? And we got called all kinds of names for almost 2 years for even saying, hey, what if the harm that we're causing is a lot worse than whatever good you think you're doing? So, but now they're saying that. And so I really started to think, Mikey, that the way they tell the story is that, during the COVID years, the country made great sacrifices, and people lost their businesses, and a whole generation of kids, they were affected. They had to stay out of school, and they're going to talk about it like we all banded together in this. You know what I mean? They're going to present it in that way. Don't you think?
One sec, by the way, let me get to some of our super chats. I've missed you guys so much. I'm so glad to be doing these again. Dude, thank you so much. Fit Dad says, keep spreading truth, guys. Aw, you're the best.
Hi, Fit Dad.
Hey, dude. I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name or not, but hey, you. The rollback of Corona is probably a mix of poll numbers and trying to boost a faltering economy. See, I don't know if they actually care about the economy until it affects them. And that's the thing, is the richest of the rich have kind of been inoculated from it. I mean, their wealth has just grown. This has been the most unprecedented government sanctioned transfer of wealth that we've ever seen. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they've sensed they're losing power.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but my gut reaction is that they don't really care about poll numbers. I don't know if they really even care, because they just present totalitarian governments. I mean, this is why they have propaganda outlets. I mean, they just present what they want you to believe is true, even if they know that it's not true. That's part of the humiliation, is that you have to turn on the news and see all this crap. So even if their poll numbers are in the toilet, I don't know if they really care, because they're just going to pretend like they're not. So I would have to think about it more about, like, what is their motivation for this pivot? And maybe it's
Max,
just
sorry, was it Max?
Oh, go ahead.
Jennifer Rubin is God's gift to political comedy. Ridiculous.
What is her story? Is she conservative who became a leftist, or what?
I don't think so. Is she?
Oh, I don't know.
Wait, I gotta look her up now.
Okay.
I think she was one of those people who was like some kind of worked with the Obamas or the Clinton. I think it was the Clintons. I could be wrong though. I have to look. She's just one of those people that like people know for some reason, but nobody knows why they know of her. Which I guess I'm one of those people too.
Yeah.
Political commentator for the Washington Post.
She's one of our betters.
Has she done anything though? Oh, she was a conservative. You're right.
Okay, that's what I thought about her.
Kind of conservative who like.
Yes.
Not that I'm a conservative. She's a kind of Republican where I would never be a Republican.
Yes.
If it was in her party.
So I find those people fascinating, because you and I have sort of done our own movement and shift away from the left. I was specifically in the woke part of the left and left that. The people that go from right to left, or go into wokeness, or go into those people are very interesting to me. I don't know if I think I get it kind of, but not really.
Well, what I find, I don't know. I think with a lot of them, like, let's take as a case study that guy. Do you know that guy, Hunter Avalon?
I've heard of him. I don't know a lot about him, but I know who he is.
He's a tool. But
okay.
I feel like for the things that, for him to think that the things he's saying are legitimate, he would need to unlearn things. He would need to not know all of the things that he knows to think that, for example, Media Matters is a legitimate source or something like that. Whereas I think people like us involves learning things that we never knew about.
Right.
Which is why it's hard for me to take a lot of these like reverse walkaway types seriously.
Okay, let me make an analogy. It's like if you grew up conservative and you never questioned it. You just accepted these some beliefs the same way people on the left do, through osmosis, because that's your tribe, and you've got these beliefs that you've never really thought about deeply. I could see you then making that move to the left, not because you've received a lot of new information, but because indoctrination has been effective on you, maybe, or because you're finally questioning things and you haven't done that before. It's almost like sometimes I see Christians. I'm a pretty new Christian. I think anybody who follows you, if they might know that if they've seen me on with you before, but sometimes I'll meet Christians who've been in the church their whole life. They were raised in it, and then, or I'll hear of them. I've been here, and they'll leave. They leave the church and they make a big announcement that they're not Christian anymore. And
Why?
Well, I think it's because they were raised in it and they've never questioned it, and they've never come to interrogate their beliefs and say, yes, these are hard-won beliefs. I dug way down to the bottom to figure out what I think about things, and I chose this. It's like, no, it's like, well, I was just raised in it, and that's kind of what I believed my whole life. And then they hit adulthood and then they're like, oh, I'm leaving it behind. Like they're questioning for the first time, So maybe it's like that with people on the right sometimes.
By the way, hey Maddie, I love you. We should hit on this. I saw this right before we went on. By the way, I never really had to say her name out loud, so I still don't know how to say it. Is it Ghislaine? I
think Ghislaine is good, like Smale.
She was just found guilty. What's the one that she was found not guilty of is what I want to know. Let us know if you know in the chat.
Yeah, guilty on 5 out of 6 counts. But
obviously that's a good thing, but I've always felt like she's in many ways, not to diminish all the horrible things she's done, but in many ways she's kind of the least of it. Like, I want all the names of all these people.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. See,
she'll magically get COVID.
I think that I didn't follow the trial actually because I didn't think it really mattered. I think it's sort of a show trial. Like, I'm one of these people who, everybody right and left.
We're told it's Ghislaine.
Everybody right and left is sort of united. United on the idea that Epstein didn't kill himself. It's memes and everything. He didn't kill himself. But I don't even believe that he's necessarily dead. Like, why? If you don't believe that he killed himself,
he's alive?
I don't know. I'm not ruling it out. Why would he? Let me ask you this. I asked Carter this recently on a show, and he was like, good point. Don't you think a guy like him, with as much dirt as he has on powerful people that he's collected for blackmail purposes and to control people and everything, don't you think he would have a dead man switch where if he died, all this stuff would come out as an incentive to prevent people from killing him?
I've heard that's what she has. I don't know with him. Maybe some of these people think that they're just immortal, Yeah,
I think they just offered her
that's
up as
interesting.
Yeah, and they're not going to release, they're sealing all this info from us. They're not releasing so all these different contacts and people, like, none of that stuff's going to come out. They're not going to be
Hillary calls the suicide hotlines and says, I would like to place an order. Very true. By the way, side note, you know what occurred to me before when I'd said that you are like, or I guess not just you, but your friends also are the only people who've had a good year. I think it's because you're in a red state. You're in Texas. That's why nobody I know has had a good year, because I'm stuck here in New York.
So what would you say what were some good things about 2021 for you?
Gosh. I learned things, I guess. That's probably the best thing I can say about it. What's that?
You learned things? Are you stronger now than you were at the beginning of the year? I think you are.
I hope so. I would hope. Yeah, I feel like I made a lot of mistakes this year that I've hopefully learned from.
And
I hope. I don't know what else has been good about it. I mean, I feel like the lessons I've learned, mistakes I've made, all of that I hope apply to next year. I'm kind of planning on this next year just kind of trying to like save every penny I can, which is hard because I'm a segregated second-class citizen right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just gonna try to save up and get the hell out of New York. It's so horrible here.
I know so many people leaving. Are you the kind of person who sits down and writes out like, here's my New Year's resolution or things I want to happen this year?
Actually, yeah. I'm the one who doesn't think it's. I bet you don't think it's stupid either. I don't. I think it's a good thing.
No, I don't think it's stupid. When I was a social justice person, I thought it was stupid. Like,
really?
When you're in that woke cult, you kind of think a lot of things are stupid. Just reflects, they
especially anything that's introspective or some reflection.
Yes, it's like, oh, that's cheesy. Who does that? You kind of reject tradition, and you reject holidays, and you reject introspection and trying to improve yourself instead of the world, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've been doing it the past few years. I got one of those. I don't care. It's one of these cheesy notebooks. It's a day planner for the whole year. And at the beginning, it has prompted big picture questions, which I need stuff like that to help me, think it through. Like, what are the top 3 goals for your personal life, with your friends, with, work. And it really helps me think about things in a different way, because I wouldn't naturally do that on my own. So having something to guide me through that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I've kind of always done that. Even though I guess I've quit smoking. I'm over a year now. So that's sort of fun. There's certain things that are on my list like every year. And that's been on my list for years. So at least, okay, that's one we can take off the long-term list. Going to the gym would have been on. That's another one that's on it every year, but I got canceled from my gym for not getting the
Gosh.
So that's why I'm getting fat now. Unabomber. I'm in my like Unabomber fat Elvis phase right now.
If this is your fat Elvis phase, like what is your skinny Elvis phase?
Yeah, I don't know that. I feel like I've actually finally, so I sort of mostly took this year off for making videos and stuff. I was just kind of like, I think after all of 2020, I was just like out of my mind. So I feel like now I've finally started to kind of fall in love with making videos again. And I feel like I have a sort of a different kind of vision for what I want my channel to be and stuff. I feel like there isn't really anybody who's doing kind of funny, stupid stuff. So I'm still going to do the political stuff too, but I feel like we could all use some laughs nowadays. So I'm going to try to just do some stupid videos too.
Yeah, I think that's great, and have fun with it. I was thinking about this recently because I think people can become, if they achieve success, any degree, even a small degree of success, doing something that has an audience. So I'm not talking about the kind of like being successful in a job without an audience, but the kind of job where there are viewers or listeners or something like that, or people who buy your CDs or whatever it is. Then I think you can become changed by that to where you start feeling like that you have to like continually put out stuff, even if it's stale or you have nothing to say. I was thinking about this recently because we used to do on Unsafe Space, we used to do our covfefe break, what's called covfefe break. It used to be called daily covfefe. We did it every day for like the first year. And then we hit a point where it's like, we kind of felt like our quality of what we were talking about was suffering, just so we could have something every day. And it's like, I don't want to be one of those people who's like, well, I don't feel like I have anything worthwhile to say today, but I'm scheduled to do so. Right. So then we reduced it to 2 days a week, and that helped us a lot because then it felt like it wasn't just sort of, you have to, put something out there, even if it's crap. And the other thing I was thinking about is what you just said, freeing yourself from having to always be serious or be some kind of, I don't think of myself as a commentator. I don't know about other people, but yeah, just a lady who talks with her friend on a podcast.
Wait, what?
Sometimes I'm just a lady. Like, it's like, I'm not.
Except not.
Yeah. There you go. I'm a lady.
I'm a dude.
But so that frees you up to be like creative and do whatever.
Just the fact that we know that much puts us enough in the same category right now.
Yes.
That's more than most people. We know what our gender is.
Are you a fan of Little Britain?
Is that still on? I've never seen it.
It's the Little Britain. There was a character. It was Emily Howard, the really obvious transsexual, and she would dress like he would dress like a Victorian lady, and then he would come out with a fan and like powdered makeup and be like, "I'm a lady." It was just
the only thing I know of that show is that I used to go to school with this really pretentious art family. They were all in the art industry, and they had their loft in the Bowery. And like, I remember the sister was obsessed with that show. And I asked her once, "Oh, is it good or something?" And she was like bothered by that. Like, it wasn't worldly enough. She was like, "No, it was absolutely fabulous."
Okay.
I hate people. Like, that's why I'm like, I got to get out of New York.
Gross. Yeah. Gross.
By the way, sorry, this just caught my eye. Mikey, will you let me interview you? Yes, totally, dude. Just like DM me on whatever, tweet me, whatever. We have a super chat. Hey, Poetry, thank you. It was a year of self-care, learning, and gearing to come back stronger and better than ever. Yes, yes, yes. I like that.
Hi, Poetry Painter. I think I know who you are. There's so many screen names in my head, but yes, I know who you are. Hello.
Oh, also, hey, Kevin. Hey, Ragamuffin is here. We've got like all our friends. I love this. Yeah, I agree with that. It was kind of like, it was like a rebuilding year, which I guess this one will be too, but I think this one will be a much more proactive rebuilding year.
So what are your goals? If it's not too personal, then have you already made your list, or you haven't made it yet for the coming year?
I haven't yet. I just realized yesterday how soon New Year's is, so I better get going on that. Okay, I need to, like, you know, not be a fat piece of shit and go to the gym, but first I need to not be segregated to, like, have a gym to go to. I've just been doing, like, Nintendo Fitness, which I haven't even been doing that lately. That thing is amazing, by the way, Ring Fit.
Okay.
It's amazing. I need to start doing it again.
Well, I went back to ever since my husband and I had COVID in the fall, it's been a start and stop with me with the gym. And I went back with him 2 or 3 days ago before I got this cold. I was there and we did a bunch of squats. I haven't done that. And you know what happens after that? If you haven't done it in a long time, I can barely walk today. So in addition to having a cold, I'm like walking around my house like a cowboy, like the totally stiff legs. But it's good. I just that's what it sucks when you first get back into it and it hurts like that. That's why you have to keep doing it. I have to keep doing it this time.
I think I started working out a lot after we did the last Myth Informed, the one in Wisconsin. And so I remember I like getting out of the car there and I like couldn't stand up. But I think for me, a big goal though is like this channel. I want to be making videos consistently. I have one coming out tomorrow, finally. I was gonna do this one. Oh, we need to talk. You're like too, what's the word? Smart to watch Sex in the City. But I used to be very into it.
I have my own guilty pleasures. Okay, you know what some of them are. I just said that wasn't one of mine. That's not one of my flavors.
Oh God! So I had started to make a video about the reboot, and then actually somebody who worked on the series follows me online and was like, this is before the last episode that aired. They were like, just so you know, the next 2 episodes are insane. You might want to like hold it back for those. So the next one comes on late tonight. The last one, he was right, was insane. It was like them trying to speak to black people because it's as if none of them have ever seen a black person before. And according to him, the one that comes out late tonight is about like her transgender daughter.
Oh gosh.
Apparently the kid's school changes their gender with that.
Can I ask you a question? Is it, because I've seen clips of it, is it making fun of the woke on purpose?
No.
Okay.
No. It's like these people have never. This is what's. I feel like it's so revealing. Like you said, it's so revealing inadvertently about these types because it's like such a big deal to them. Like they how do I speak to a black person? Or like the entire last episode was about them trying to find someone black to come to their dinner party. Like it's just so insulting.
So it is sort of making fun of the woke. I mean, isn't it?
No, because it's dead serious.
Wow.
It is if you think about it that way.
But can I tell you, I posted about this the other day, but in case I know you're banned from Facebook currently, so I'll tell you this. So when I worked in entertainment, I call it my old life, my old beliefs and my old everything. I had a boss who was this really kind of, I know what prompted this. I saw Elizabeth Warren did a tweet about Kwanzaa.
My God.
I had this white woman boss it's always the woke white women who push this stuff. And anyway, I had this boss who was like that. And she was the type who, it was in a comedy. She managed some comedians. And this is before I had my own company. I worked for her. And we had a lot of clients who were gay and black and Asian and Latino, and she was the kind of awkward, cringe white woman that I've seen in the Sex and the City clips, where she would say stuff to them like, "I just wish that I was black because, like, I'm like you. I wish you knew I'm one of you on the inside." And it's like, gosh, what is wrong with you? You can't. Just super cringe and making people feel awkward. She would say stuff like this in elevators too. So you're trapped there with her while she's saying it. And it's all like, And then, so anyway, cut to, she had a Christmas party. Although when everybody got there, she answered the door, like wrapped, like, and by the way, very rich, elite, wealthy white woman at a beachfront condo. And she's wrapped head to toe in kente cloth. And then it's a Kwanzaa party. And because I guess she thought the black clients will feel more comfortable having a Kwanzaa party. Yes. And she had these games. I don't know where she found them online or something, where you had to guess how many beans were in a jar. And everybody was just counting down the minutes.
What's that, like what they do in Mother Africa or some shit?
I don't know. Anyway, that woman is like, everybody knows that kind of woman, or at least I think they do. If they hang out at all in woke circles, or they know any woke people at work, everybody knows that one type of woman. That was mine. And I saw her, and I was woke at the time, but I knew something was wrong. Even though I was woke, I'm like, this is super awkward and cringe, and what is wrong with you? And
yeah.
It just didn't seem, it didn't seem sincere, or it was based in some kind of self-hatred. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. No, it's funny. I was actually, last night I watched this horrible Sandra Bullock movie. So I like looked up something about it, and I ended up seeing this interview that she gave about, because she adopted Black kids, and her talking about how she wishes she was Black. And like, she's like, it's my goal to scare the hell out of my kids so that they know about all the racism they're going to face. And I was just thinking like, okay, but what if you didn't teach them that? What if you didn't teach them, hey, everyone hates you, everyone's out to get you?
Yeah.
Maybe we'd be done with it in a generation or two, but that's the last thing that a lot of people want.
They just keep perpetuating it. That's what they want, is they want this. And I don't even think, some of them aren't really conscious that that's what they're doing. They've truly bought into the absurdity that the way to end racism is to teach racism and to teach that there's all these racial differences. That's not the way to end race. You don't teach that there's differences because of race. But yeah, that's really sad to hear. I didn't know that about Sandra Bullock. Somebody says,
this is not fast. 1 sec. Hey Kevin. Hey Mike. I have some news for you regarding the. Yes, I want to hear about it. That's his horror movie. By the way, wait. Talk for 1 second. I'll be right back. I forgot something.
Well, I'll say I saw something from you, horror flick guy, that said your abs are finally coming in. I know it's not a super chat. But I was going to read it and say congratulations. Keep up the work. Doing the abs sucks, but it's worth it. Let's see. I'm going to read this.
I took this off while I was washing my face, but I meant to wear the ring that Kevin gave me because he came to see an event I was speaking at in Florida, and I love the skull ring.
So is that Kevin? Okay. Hi, Kevin.
Okay, wait. We have more. Hey, Max. I wonder if Dexter will go woke next. You know, I've actually never really watched. I've seen. Okay, so that's like one of those shows that like I'd have a crush on some guy and he would just make you watch episode after episode after episode and nothing was happening. So I've only seen Dexter in the context of like sitting on someone's couch annoyed that nothing was happening. Or my ex-boyfriend used to be obsessed with Dexter, and I would like.
Okay, so I did watch it, and I think this is a really funny question, Max Soren, because my brain just immediately goes to that would be such a funny sketch if because he's a serial killer who the audience is meant to empathize with because he has rules and ethics about his serial killing, so he only kills bad guys, right? What if in the woke season he's killing the oppressors? And it's
my God, we should make that a show.
You misgendered someone, prepare to die. And the woke audience is like, at least he's taking out misgenderers.
Oh my God, that thing. Thanks, man. Alex, my weight loss struggle is food. Oh God, same. That's not just my weight loss struggle. It's like my romantic struggle because like, I just feel like I'm never going to love anyone as much as I love food. I love food way too much. Like, there's no, like, I'll cook something, not to toot my own horn or anything, but like, I'll cook something.
Yeah. You're be like, amazing.
No,
yeah.
Aw, thank you. I'll be like, no man could ever compare to food. That's probably really depressing. That's probably like something that sad, tragic old cat ladies say.
It's two different things. You're comparing a pleasure and something. What would I call like the love of a human is something just totally different. It's more than a pleasure. You'll have pleasures, but it's something completely different. But I hear you. I saw a funny tweet once that said,
"See, Keri is like my Oprah. You are." She's like, no, like when she was cool, or you're better than Oprah, but like she's like my wise old owl. Not old, but you know what I mean.
You can look.
You're like the owl.
No, that's very flattering because in a lot of my relationships, I'm not the wise one. What? Really? I feel like I tend to attract older, wiser people to myself, which is good because I need the guidance. So
you are the wisest. Poetry. Did it seem odd to you when you were left that their version of bad America with terrible people was at odds with your own personal experience?
The version of bad America with terrible was at odds with your own. No. That's a great question. No, because at the time I bought into it, and I had a tendency to excuse people who behaved badly because they were on my side, which is why I don't do that anymore. But back then it was like, okay, for example, there was a comedian I worked with who was super woke. And at some point it became apparent to me that he had a bad character, like treated people like shit. And at first I thought he was changing, but I had a very wise friend, a wise and older friend who was also woke. But she was saying to me, no, you're just seeing more parts of who he is now that he's under pressure. You're seeing different parts of his character. He's not changing. You're just getting a broader view. And it really, the broader view really disappointed me, because I was like, I don't actually like this person. But at the same time, his politics were right. He was woke. He said all the right things. And so I would listen to my I think we're all trained to do this. I wouldn't listen to my gut. And I was like, but he's a good person. Why? Because he has the same beliefs as me, because he believes in social justice, because he believes in, but he treats people like crap, right? So that's something that was a lesson that I learned that has continually resurfaced, and this will resonate with you, given the lessons you and I have learned this year. I don't care what someone says their beliefs are. If their behavior doesn't match their words, they're a con artist. They're lying. They're a bad person. And this is why, if you look at the Bible, the verse about you shall know them by their fruit is so important. You can't put stock just in what people say. Remember when Harvey Weinstein got outed as this horrible monster, and he tried to write an apology, and in the apology, he was like, he said something weird. Do you remember this? He was all like, yeah, I did this, I did that, beg forgiveness, whatever. Then he's like, and I promise this coming year, I'm going to dedicate my efforts to ending the NRA and fighting for gun control. And it's like, what the fuck? Why is that in a statement about your sexual harassment, right? But here's why. Because he was betting, because it usually does work. He was betting that the tribe would say, he may have behaved like a monster, but he's got the same beliefs as us. So he's good. He's a good guy. He's got the same beliefs. Bullshit. Con artists will use any belief system. They've used Christianity. They'll use woke. They'll use anti-woke.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
they will.
So it's like, look at the way people behave. And if their behavior doesn't match their stated beliefs, jettison that person. Like, get that person out of your life. I'm not talking about people who make mistakes. Humans are fallible. I make mistakes all the time. People are going to make mistakes. I'm talking about a pattern of behavior. If you see someone who is abusing others and who consistently doesn't put into practice the things that they claim to believe in, whether they're woke or anti-woke or Christian or atheist, whatever it is, if they're not if they're a hypocrite consistently, no, I don't have time for that. So anyway, thank you, Poetry Pager. That was a long answer. But
Kevin Spacey did the same thing. I choose to live as a gay man.
Yes.
He thought that he could cloak himself in the shield of the alphabet people.
Yes, you're exactly right. Look at my pious beliefs, my tribal beliefs, right?
They're just, for me to answer the question, they're just very shallow beliefs that you haven't put any thought into. For me, the extent of those sort of beliefs, like what you're saying with me, would have been, oh, I hate this country. And that's it. No thought behind it. It's just, that's what everyone else believes. That's what is force-fed down your throat. So yeah, I just think it's a really shallow belief system. It's the same way that, like, I used to hate Christians because I didn't know any. except my mom. But it's such a shallow belief system that it doesn't even enter your mind. Wait, I don't hate my mom. She's a Christian.
Right.
So for me, I think it was sort of seeing the hypocrisy of the people that I knew who were such practitioners of this ideology, and seeing how every single issue, whether it's gay shit, whether it's sexual assault, no matter what the topic is, that their actions and their words are totally separate. So I think it was seeing that sort of led to me discovering the facts and seeing how fraudulent the entire ideology is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And it happened with me with woke ideology first. That was the belief system that I came to view. Actually, that's not even true. Let me take a step back, because when I was young, I was raised in the Southern Baptist Church, and I came to see, I knew some hypocrites, some Christian hypocrites. And I came to see the way that people use Christianity to cloak their bad behavior and wrap themselves in Christianity. And unfortunately, I think like a lot of people, I took that as my example of what Christianity was about. Yes. And so I let those people be a bad representation for me, and I walked away from God. There was a lot more involved in me walking away from God, but that was part of it. But then I really learned that lesson with wokeness, is seeing, look at all these hypocrites wrapping themselves in social justice and not really being sincere about it even, and not living up to what they claim to believe in. Because a lot of social justice people, I mean, well, look at the big picture stuff. They say they're against racism, but they behave in racist ways. They believe in judging and treating people differently on the basis of race. Once you start seeing all those hypocrisies, you know, not to mention just seeing how a lot of them, I mean, they can be pretty abusive. Not all social justice people, but some of them, yes, they're liars. A lot of them are liars. And so being able to see that in wokeness helped me to walk away from it. But then I had to realize that's not just wokeness. There's no one belief system that has a claim on that. People do that in any belief. There are people who are like wolves, who will come in and put on the sheepskin of whatever tribe it is they're preying in. It's like those predators who take on the appearance of their prey. Hey guys, I'm in this tribe. I'm just a sheep like one of you, while they're eating people. Like,
or a lot of people use the language of like liberty when they're the biggest authoritarians there are.
Oh yeah.
I've seen that.
I've seen liberals do that. Yeah.
Sorry, let me get to more of these. Alex, Mike, we just need a man who's a great cook. Yes. Yes. But then I might have to compete with him for kitchen time. I get very annoyed. I'm like that person who's like, get the hell out of my kitchen. I don't want help. I don't want anything. Ragamuffin. My weaknesses have always been food and men, in that order. Dolly Parton. Yes! The queen has spoken.
Guess what I just watched 2 nights ago, was it? Every Christmas I watch Smoky Mountain Christmas with Dolly Parton. And I have such a soft spot for that movie, because when I was a kid, it just had such an impact on me. This is an embarrassing admission, but even as an adult, I will cry when I watch it. It makes me, the way that some little girls will probably fantasize about, I don't know, like a boy or something. I used to fantasize about Dolly Parton being my mother. And that movie, she adopts all these kids. And I was always like, I wish she would just, I would have these like, I'm one of the kids and I'm in the cabin and I get adopted. Anyway, I love that movie. And they eat a fruitcake in that movie. Food and men. Anyway, you guys should watch it. John Ritter's in it.
Fruitcake.
Have you seen that movie?
No, but I know what it is. I should see it.
Okay, it's very campy. There are some parts I think you would love. There's a witch in it. Lee Majors is in it. And also at the very end, John Ritter is in it. It's a pretty fun movie.
I love him. There's a witch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a really campy witch.
What?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
There's magic. There's magic in the movie.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, I really need to see this. I just thought this was hilarious. Mikey baby, we know it didn't work out with actual Justice Warrior. But there's more out there. I'm not in love with Sean, I'm in love with his girlfriend. Her and I are the ones having an affair.
They're both great. I love them.
I love them too. It's nice. I was just thinking the other day, I feel like since we've been doing this sort of thing, I feel like I've gotten to see like both the best and the worst of humanity.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of people like Sean or you. Lauren Chen is amazing. Like, so there are a lot of really amazing, really genuine people who do this. And then there are also obviously a lot of scumbags.
Yeah. So this is weird because I'm pretty skeptical about people, or I like to think that I am, but oh my goodness. When I first became a Christian a couple years ago, I was kind of naive. I mean, I know that they're, like I just said, I just spent time talking about how they're a con artist in any belief system. And as a child, I saw Christian hypocrites. But because my introduction to God and to Christianity in adulthood in the past few years was being very lucky to be surrounded by sincere Christians, I went into it with this sort of, okay, I'm going to go into every situation assuming good faith and assuming sincerity. And I think that's the best way to be in the world. And I still, for the most part, think that's the best way to be in the world. However, I was on a dating site, and this Christian pastor, it was on eHarmony, because my friends, this is before I was married and had met my husband. And my friend said, go to eHarmony because that's where you'll meet the serious guys and maybe the Christian guys. And I met this Christian pastor. Did I tell you about this?
Yo, you did. But
okay. Yeah. So he was a widower, and I like what he wrote about his deceased wife and how much he loved her. And I started talking to him, and within a day, he got me off of eHarmony and onto text. And then he was trying to get me to sex with him. And I was so naive, and I was just going into it with these blinders of naivete that everyone is being sincere, and he's a preacher. That I was like, I thought he was joking. So every time he would make a suggestion, I would be like, ha, that's so funny. So anyway, and I would try and finally he was like, enough. I'm trying to get, he had to be very blunt about it. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to you anymore then. Goodbye. It was super creepy. But I had that weird naivete about it. Did you ever have that coming when you left the left and started interacting more with conservatives? I had that same naivete about people I was going to be meeting who are sharing their opinions or who have left the left or whatever. I thought I'm going to take people at their word. And so it was a shock. Was it a shock for you to meet people who are totally liars?
Yes. No, I think actually I'd never really kind of made that connection between those two things, but that's a really good point. That I think maybe that's why I was trusting of certain people, thinking that I had this experience in leaving the left, so other people must be genuine in that as well, Yes. And I think for me, maybe it was something that I kind of came into kicking and screaming. I never attempted to do this. I never thought this is what I would be doing. So I feel like I kind of had to leave my entire life from before, every opportunity I had before. So I had felt like people wouldn't seek this out. People wouldn't choose this. It's certainly not the easiest path, but no, some would, because some can make money from it, I guess. So
yeah,
like anything.
Yeah. I don't know what that is. I guess it's a desire to, like you said, if you've had a transformative experience, like a life-changing experience, and you learned a lesson from it, there's that desire to want the people that are around you think are your friends or maybe your partner or a spouse, what have you, that they've learned a similar lesson if they've gone through that same kind of experience. And even in personal relationships, I think people can draw that analogy of if you learn a hard lesson, you just hope that the person you're with has learned that same lesson. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Anyway, just rambling. Do you have more of these to?
I was just going to say, I think the most important thing is just learning your lesson and learning from it and acting better in the future. Even after I came back from Texas the last time, because my trip before that, I met this guy I liked and stuff, and it played out in a pretty similar pattern as other things. And I really thought about it and sat down and wrote out an entire thing of 5 lessons. And I was finally able to identify certain things that have sort of been reoccurring in my romantic life and stuff, and things that you can easily spot the next time. Like, I think it was you that taught me the term love bombing. Like, God, I don't know if it applies to straight people too. I'm sure it does, but so particularly every gay guy, every woman, just every person, period. If you're struggling with dating or whatever, go into YouTube after this, type in the word love bombing, and watch everything you can, because that blew my mind. I thought this was the thing that only happens to me, and there's something wrong with me that I keep attracting this, and it's just a common thing that happens to people.
Yeah. Is narcissists especially do a lot of this? Manipulators, anybody who wants to control you. It's sort of a over the top adoration at the beginning.
Yes.
And yeah, there's a lot of, oh my gosh, there was a book written. There's so much true crime in my head. I get all the stories confused. Yes. But there's one. It was this woman who she was married to this narcissist and she didn't know I had a secret life for years. I'm trying to remember. If anybody knows the name of this woman, I know I'm not giving you a lot of details, but the guy had at the beginning hit her with so much love bombing and like something out of a fairy tale, and then just cut it off. So she spent the rest of the relationship chasing it, trying to get back to that. Why isn't he treating me that way? Like, it was like the sun was shining on me and then he took the sunshine away. And I think a lot of times people experience that in romantic relationships, that love bombing thing. But you can experience it in other kind of relationships too, where it's just a little creepy. It's like a little over the top. Like, why are you putting me on such a big pedestal in a way that feels a little insincere? You should, like you said, once you start to pick up on these things, your gut will tell you something feels a little off here. And it doesn't mean your gut's always right, but you should listen to it. I've been learning this lesson in the past few years, and it's so important. And now that I've started listening to it, it's amazing how much I'm like, oh my gosh, I used to ignore all this all the time.
Damn. I feel like your gut never will lie to you. I feel like when people say follow your heart, that's the worst advice in the world. Follow your gut. Your heart will lie to you. Your gut will not. That's the worst advice ever. Follow your heart.
Your heart,
if I followed my heart, I'd be out in the middle of the street swimming through traffic.
Heart is like what I want to be true. That's like, oh, I want this to be true. I'm going to choose to believe this. But your gut is like, something's off. I feel like there's a snake in the room. Mm-hmm. And you're like, yeah, maybe there is a snake in the room.
Also, by the way, Jen, thank you so much for the super sticker. You're the best. I think for me, because I so rarely actually really like someone, that when I do, I go insane. So like when they act in such a love bomby way and are telling you how much they like you and stuff, if I feel the same way, I'll think like, oh, it's just we have such a connection and stuff that no, that's never what love bombing is. Just not real in any way.
No. Hey, can I read one? It's not a super chat, but
yes, please. Sorry, I'm blind. I need to get new contact. So sorry, I'm like squinting to see all the chat.
We are a pair of old folks tonight. I am anyway. I'm like, between my cold, I think I'm a little anyway, I'm under the weather. Somebody, Christy says, I don't go to church. They promote the clot shots and mask wearing. That sucks. My church doesn't. And I wanted to highlight this because I wanted to say this is something I'm really passionate about. And if you're a non-believer, you can just ignore me, but I'm talking to believers. If your church is promoting that crap, like I think that's you have cowardly leadership, and they're leading their flock in the wrong direction. And you need to find a better, this is a good time of the burning off, like the wheat, separating the wheat from the chaff. Like let that fall away. Find a strong church with strong leaders.
There's a church right near me, a couple blocks away, and they have like the transgender flag and the rainbow flag and climate change and flags with masks on them. And I'm like, I think I would have preferred them like hating gay people than doing this shit. I prefer that.
It's just that it means nothing. It's sort of like, we'll take wokeism and then we'll just try to put a Jesus label on it. And I'm like, that is not how this works. And the same thing with this COVIDian cult. Oh, we'll take the COVIDian cult and put Jesus. I'm not saying you can't have a jab or wear a mask. I think your church obviously should support whatever individuals want to do. But if they are acting as an arm of the pharmaceutical industry and of the media, the mainstream media, if they are acting as an arm of culture, of the world, if they're pushing the world on you, that's the one place you go to get away from the world. I don't go to church to hear what the world is telling me. I go to hear what the word is telling me. I don't want to hear what the world is on about. Like,
anyway. I love your church. I'm not religious or anything, but it was so beautiful, like going to brunch with all your church people, and you just have the most beautiful everything.
Oh, Mikey, can I tell you, that's one of my, I had, right, speaking of year end and upcoming, maybe people can relate to this. Maybe you can relate to this. I was really down recently. I've been mourning, okay, because I had to sell this little house to have enough money to fix up a really beautiful old house that we bought. That's so further away. It's like in the boonies, okay? But I'm mourning this house, if you're losing a friend. I love this little house. So many things happened in this house. I crawled out of hell in this house. I quit drinking in this house. I met my husband in this house. All these life-changing things happened here, and it's in this cute little community where I can walk to the historic square and everything. So I'm gonna miss it, and I've been mourning it. And then I realized I need to stop my weeping, because it's like sometimes I think we can just focus on the negative and not the positive stuff. It's sort of like when you choose to view blessings as like, oh, I've got too many blessings because I got this one blessing. This blessing's got to change. It's like when I give my dog Tiger too many treats, and then if I give him too many and he's full, he'll run around the house crying, like, oh, you're giving too many blessings. Like, it's like, you have too many treats. And that's it. Anyway, I had to do a mind flip, because I'm like, gosh, get over this grief get through the grief of leaving your home, but think about all the things you have. And so I was listing them out. Well, and one of them is, I can't believe I have the coolest, strongest church leadership and who would have thought they would just happen to be in my little town? Their church opened at the beginning of the lockdown. My church opened at the beginning of the lockdown.
Oh, and really?
When everything else shut down. And we were meeting. I went to the very first service because I saw an ad on Facebook. Facebook has since restricted their ability to advertise. Wonder why. But I went to the very first meeting. It was in a guitar shop. And anyway, it's a huge blessing. That's a huge blessing. And also, if just really quick, you said you quit smoking. This was my 2 years of sobriety. I celebrated that in October.
Yes.
That's a huge miracle.
You.
I met my husband, who is my hero, and I'm not going to talk about him or I'll start crying. But that's a miracle that, like, 1,000 times. If there's ever no more miracles in my life, like, that's all. That's more than enough. And so anyway, I'm grateful for all those things. And I'm saying all this not to brag about my miracles, but to say, write your miracles down, because if you're like me, if you're human, you might start to just be like crying about certain things and not even keeping track of all the things that have happened. This is why writing, like you're saying, write down what you want to happen, the goals for the coming year. And that way you won't forget, like, if you actually achieve them or not. At the end of the year, you can look and see. I have a bad memory. I have to look at stuff like that.
You're just like such freaking life goals. I want to be you when I grow up.
Mikey.
It's the truth.
I want to have your professional background here.
I don't know about that. Are you sure?
Before we started this video, I had to put my microphone in a box and Mikey's camera fell off.
We're such messes. The damn magnet. Also, by the way, I'd say thank you so much, Lady Freddie, for the sticker.
Lady Freddie.
No, it's that's how I feel with like what you said when you'll like start crying because you're so. That's how I feel with my friends. I just have the best friends in the world. Like if I start thinking about you, Peter, Johnny, all my friends, like that's the one thing that I'm very lucky. The other things I'm kind of working on.
Yeah, but that's good. That's an accomplishment. We both know people who have, I mean, no companions throughout life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm very grateful.
There's a reason.
Yes. Yes. You could have to pay someone to hang out with you. Anyway.
But yeah, though a big lesson I feel like I learned this year was there was a little period that I was sort of seeing someone, and I learned it could always be worse. It could always be worse if people feel like they're single and want to meet someone. I definitely learned this year the only thing worse than that is being in the wrong relationship.
Yes.
That's a prison.
How many people do you think stay in the wrong relationship just because they're afraid?
God.
I think it's probably a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a oh God, that's a scary thought.
I did that.
And nothing against the person I say is a wonderful person, just wasn't the right fit. But just that wrong fit is a prison.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't and I feel like you're right. There are a lot of people that stay in that, and I feel like aside from everything else, the worst part of that is you're robbing yourself of the chance to meet someone who you would be really in love with.
Yes.
That's the worst part of that.
That's the worst part. Okay, so you know how when you're going through something, and you and I have been through things where we talked about, it's always easier to give the other person advice. And when it's happening to you, you still believe that to be true, but you're not feeling it right now. You're like, I know that's true, but I can't feel it right now. And we've both been through that and talked to each other about, on the other side of this thing, logically, it's going to be for the good, but right now it just hurts, and
but like we said, I think part of that is just like learning to make better decisions in the future to not get to that point,
Yes, I think so too. Plus not being afraid to do the right thing. And if you're a Christian, I would say not being afraid to do what you believe God is telling you to do, even if you don't want to do it. Knowing that on the other side of that fear, and if you're not a believer, I'd say just I don't know what's a good. Sometimes I struggle because I'm like, how would a believer characterize this? You've been through something where have you ever been through something where you're like, I don't, like, for example, I don't want to break up with this person, but I know it's a bad relationship and I have to. Getting through the fear of doing that and knowing that it's going to be okay on the other side, even though you have all that uncomfortable feeling in the middle. That's what I think people need more.
I think when it comes to like listening to your gut, I think I forget where I heard this years ago, but I kind of never forgot it, is that when it comes to not listening to yourself, it's like first you get a whisper, then you get a scream, then the brick falls on you, and then the entire wall falls down on you if you don't listen to it. So I think something important for all of us, definitely for me at least, is listening to yourself before the entire wall comes down. Even if you don't listen to the whisper, at least listen at the scream part.
I think you talked about that in relation to getting out of New York City. I heard you talk about it.
We're at the wall. We're beyond the wall. The whole apartment is caving in.
Give me 1 second. I have to say hi to Nerdy Girl. I'm just typing a heart.
Hi, Nerdy Girl.
That's very sweet. Thank you. I'm glad.
What?
She said, congrats, you've been a big inspiration and strength for me. I went through major moments of pain last winter, and your perspective gave me strength. Well, I'm very glad.
Aww.
Because
you always give me strength, Keri.
If you're going through major moments of pain, just remember, you don't want to be Tiger crying about having too many, but I don't know. That's not a good analogy. I try to relate everything back to my dog now. I'm like, I'm behaving like Tiger.
Oh, I miss him. I want to come visit you again. I miss you.
I miss you. I got to see you several times this year. That was a positive.
I know. Oh my God, I got to see you like 3 times.
Yeah.
That's good. Not enough for me, but so that means we need to keep it at least 3 times this coming year.
Yeah. Well, there's more people coming down to Texas all the time, which is great. I mean, wrong thinkers. There's also a lot of other people moving here and stuff, but there's always people visiting, which is awesome. And I feel like that's just going to keep happening. Austin is like a boom town now.
I don't get why.
Well,
I love the rest of it. Like, I love your town, Austin.
They haven't destroyed it yet. They can come and they can find condos here for a lot less than they would pay in New York or California. And so that's not going to be true in a couple years. It's going to become as expensive as those other cities. And they haven't destroyed it completely yet in terms of there being like a whole, there was for a while in Austin, there was a whole Skid Row thing happening because they got rid of the camping prohibition. And so they said all these tent cities can pop up. And so for 2 years, they just kept growing. They were under every overpass. And then there's sheriffs and people in other Texas towns giving their homeless people bus tickets to come here. And it just started to look like Skid Row in LA or something that you would see in San Francisco. But they're trying to roll that back now. I was pleasantly surprised last time I was downtown that they've gotten rid of a lot of the encampments now because they voted to repeal it. So.
They always have to take the long way around with all these policies.
Yeah, they don't get it. You're not helping people.
No.
They try to couch it in. And when I was a leftist, I believed all this. It's like intent is not enough. If you think that, well, I think I'm doing good. I think this policy will be good to let homeless people camp wherever they want, right? Like, because I care about homeless people. Well, do you really in the long run? Are you helping them to get off the streets, or are you just providing an incentive for them to stay there? Because it doesn't sound to me like you really actually care what happens to them in the long term.
No, they don't at all.
Yeah.
No, for me, I'm like praying I can get out of New York at some point. It's just about money right now. I just got to figure something out. I don't know, because it's only getting worse here.
Put that on your goal sheet for this coming year.
It's only getting worse.
Nope. No porn, though.
What's that?
No porn.
No porn? On my goal sheet?
No, to make money.
Oh my God. Said to me on Twitter before. Oh my God. Somebody tweeted me. So I posted that, like, there was an old picture on my Instagram where I happened to not have a shirt on, and it was taken down for hate symbols.
Oh, I saw
that. My nipples are now hate symbols. But I don't know if they were joking or not. I think they might have been serious, that I got a tweet from some guy, and he literally said, he's like, have you ever considered pornography? He literally said pornography.
Why, it sounds like such an old-fashioned word, huh?
Oh my God, speaking of which, have you, or you guys watching, have any of you ever seen, I was just talking about this with my friend the other night, have you ever seen the Lifetime original movie, Cyber Seduction, His Secret Life?
Yes! Wait a minute, hold on. It's a made-for-TV movie, right? And
it's a Lifetime movie about a kid who's addicted to porn.
So he starts watching porn. Yes! Why have you seen that?
It's so good. It is my favorite. Why have you seen that? It is my favorite movie. I can't believe you've seen it. Oh my God, you guys need to watch it. It is so good. We should all have a movie night where we watch Cyber Seduction, His Secret Life.
I will come on your channel to watch that with you. I think it's on YouTube for free, probably.
Oh my God. Like, the best part of that movie is, like, the parents are called into the principal's office because the kid was looking at porn in the school library. So they're walking down the hall and they're like, what were you looking at on that computer? And the kid is like, oh, websites and pictures. And so the father's like, you tell your mother, what were you looking at? And all of a sudden, dramatically, he goes, pornography! I'm looking at pornography. And then Mikey, he starts running down the hall with his arm. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Have you posted about this before? Maybe that's why I watched it.
Probably many times.
Maybe that's why I've seen it. I don't know. I've also seen a lot of old Lifetime movies. But doesn't he try to get his younger brother into it? He like shows his younger brother.
And they can't, and it's Lifetime, so they can't show him like doing anything. So it's like he just watches porn and drinks energy drinks.
Oh yeah, he stays up all night like drinking Red Bull and watching porn.
And they literally had like a public service announcement with the actor who plays his mother. Like, pornography is a very real thing.
So have you seen the movie The Wave? This is an old movie from the 80s. You can watch it. Everybody can watch it for free on YouTube.
Think so.
Okay, this is a good one to watch. It may not be a Lifetime movie, but it's like an after-school special kind of movie. And it's so good. It's really relevant. Even though it's cheesy acting and stuff, it's so relevant to what's happening right now. And people kept telling me to watch it, and I finally did. And it's about a teacher who's trying to teach his class about the Holocaust. And he's trying to teach them how could lots of like a group of people do such awful things. And it's based on a true story. What happened. Yeah. And it's a great, anyway, watch The Wave. I think it was from the 80s.
Okay. I think this is a different one. It's about a killer wave in the ocean that kills people.
That's not it. No.
The Wave, 1981.
That's it, probably.
Ooh.
I think that's it.
A California high school experiment emulates the Nazi youth movement. Are you sure this is a good movie?
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. What are people talking about?
Wait, I have to go back to super chats. Hey, dude, how you doing? Good evening, two of my faves. Aw, you're my fave. Keri, I hope another winter apocalypse doesn't hit us. Drag out the furs for Tiger. Mike, you can ship me dinner anytime. Much love from Oklahoma. I need to figure out how to do that. There are a couple people. I think I told Leah that I need to like figure out how to ship food. I want to send you guys food. I'm going to figure out how to do it.
So I know C. Jones. He has sent me a fabulous gift, and he made a mug of Tiger and his dog. And I also got to meet him at the Last Myth Informed thing. And I just want to say, I owe you a message. I finally have a mailbox. I'll give you my new address, and I have something to send you. So I gotta make sure I have your address. Anyway, good to see you.
I love him. Maddie sent me a Scream shirt, which I'm so excited. I'm gonna wear it to go see the new movie. I'm so excited.
Oh, Scream! When is that coming out?
January 14th. If you guys love me, please go see Scream so it'll do well and they'll make Scream 6.
You're hilarious.
It sucks though that I'm having to like
how are you gonna
go here?
Are you having to leave the state?
I have to leave the state to go see a fucking movie. And it sucks because like I'm so envious that I'm looking at the ticket sales for theaters in the city and they're all sold out and big crowds. And then I look at the ones outside of New York and it's empty. So, but I'm planning a whole big thing it comes out the 14th, but we're going January 13th because they have Thursday night screenings. So I'm getting an entire like caravan together to go see Scream 5. We've got like 4 cars so far filled with people. If you guys are in the tri-state area, come see Scream with us on January 13th. We're going in either Jersey or Long Island. I'm not sure where yet.
Oh,
amazing. I'm so excited.
Well, you know what would be funny is if you did, because there's so much depressing shit in the news right now in New York City. I saw the woman and her son who were kicked out of Applebee's by the police because they didn't have their vaccine passport. And then I haven't watched it yet, but our friend Juana tagged me in something. Burger King also ejected some people. And it is very disturbing what's happening. And I think that there could be a way to make it. I always try and make like dark stuff funny in a way. And what if you did a sort of, because when you tweeted about how you said you're not going to get to see Scream and you were really upset about it, I was like, what more can they take from you, Mike? It's like,
no, there was a midnight screening of Showgirls.
Oh, okay.
Which I really wanted to go to.
Yeah, but you should maybe go to a theater there and see if they let you in, knowing that they're probably not going to, and just film it and do something funny with it.
See, I would do that for any other movie, but this is Scream 5. I've been waiting a decade for this, so I don't want to take any chances. I am not taking any chances. I would travel wherever I need to. I'd leave the country if I had to.
I think it's your seriousness about it that's so funny, though. How dare you deny me
it's
the right to see this horror movie comedy franchise?
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. You guys all have to go see it. Opening weekend. It better not be woke, though. I don't think it will be. People are I think they're just trying to upset me by saying it's going to be woke. I think they're just trying to hurt my feelings.
I don't think it'll be woke.
I heard they're taking a shot at Ryan Johnson in it, so that's a good sign.
Can I read one that's not a super chat?
Yeah, one sec. Let me just... Okay. Kevin! Angela from Sleepaway Camp. Oh my God. Wants to do Vendetta, nationally syndicated radio duo Bob and Sherry do voiceover. Do you have Venmo? Yes, that's the horror movie that he's making. I'm so proud of you, dude. I do have Venmo. It's at MikeyHarlow. Thank you. If you have another retreat, I don't know, I'll be able to go if the airplane try.
Hi, I'll fight you naked. Yeah, we had.
Hey, I know you from Twitter.
We had our first Unsafe Space retreat this year.
It's funny on Twitter.
We will be doing one next year. We haven't announced plans for it yet, but I know we're doing one, and that will be very upsetting if they do this whole restricting people from travel thing. This is why
they won't.
People who've been preparing have been buying up all the vans. So all the Sprinter vans, it's so hard to find them right now. You have to fly to other states to claim them. And there's other people there when you get there ready to buy it too. So if you don't have the jab and you're afraid of being denied the ability to fly, I would say start looking for those now because you're already behind the curve. I'm already behind the curve on finding one.
I'm so pissed I couldn't go to the last one. I want to go next time.
This year, yeah.
I can't even think about what's going to happen if they pass that. Especially, I've lived in New York my whole life, so I don't even have my driver's license. I literally drove for the first and only time when I was in Texas visiting you before your wedding.
Oh, right. Did Carter let you drive his car?
Yeah. It was amazing. But yeah, I better do that or something. Yeah, I can't even think about if they pass that. One sec, I have to catch up with the comments. There's a whole Scream discussion.
No, go right ahead. I was trying to look at them too.
Look at this shit. I told you, people are just trying to upset me.
Oh, they're saying
it's gonna be woke. If that shit is woke, my arms are gonna be flailing like nothing you have ever seen. It's not gonna be woke. Wait, where was the one that I was looking for?
Hi, Sue Escobar.
Oh, I love him.
Therese.
Finn White Axe. Hi, I love you, dude. You got a review? I will. But it's not going to be woke. It is not going to be woke. Wait, I was looking for you. Oh my God, he left me this long comment about Scream. And I'm going to prove you wrong, dude. I'm going to prove you wrong because this movie is going to be amazing. He thought Scream was going to suck without Wes Craven, but these people directed Ready or Not, and Ready or Not was amazing. And everything so far, the trailers, everything has just been so perfect. It's going to be amazing. Don't anyone say otherwise.
I wish you the best.
Also, I can't find it now, but Therese, I thought that was hilarious that Therese said, glad I'm not playing the Mikey fixing his hat drinking game. Because it's really stretched out and my hair's, don't worry about it.
So
here's for your free Mikey from Oppressive New York Fun. Oh, thank you so much. That's so nice of you.
Hi, Final City Cycling.
I need to get out of here.
So I don't have any. There's no movies coming out that I'm looking forward to, but I did recently start watching. There's a whole, all these different genres of YouTubers and stuff. There's this one genre of YouTubers who go into abandoned buildings and document them. And I started watching this one channel. Some of you guys may already know about it. I didn't know about it. It's called Brothers of Decay. And it's these two guys, and they go into these beautiful abandoned castles and mansions in like France and Italy, Germany, and places where you're like, why hasn't this been looted? Where it's just in ruins, but there's beautiful artwork.
Black Lives Matter wasn't there at the time.
And it's gorgeous. And anyway, the show is really funny that one of the hosts, he has these speaking tics, and my husband and I were laughing because we were looking in the comments. It's a really popular show. We were looking to see if anybody had noticed this, and nobody seemed to have noticed it. But he says, wow, all the time. I think he's German. He's always like, wow. And he probably says like 100 times. If you're playing a drinking game and you're watching Brothers of Decay, you could drink every time he says, wow. Or what I like about him is he's not an expert on history. So he'll look at these beautiful tapestries from the 1800s or something. And he'll say, wow, these tapestries are from back in the day. He says back in the day like 100 times per episode.
Oh my God.
But it's really charming. It's really funny. And then you just start waiting for him to say, he'll see something like, look at this antique table. It's from back in the day. And so this is probably funny only to me. But if any of you guys in the chat watch the show, pay attention now, Brothers of Decay, how many times he says back in the day. It cracks me up.
That's like me. I always end up saying, and I say, so I'm trying, those are my speaking habits I'm trying to break.
I do the same I say, but yeah.
That's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
But now I'm going to say back in the day. Back in the day, Scream wasn't woke.
It's never been woke. It's never been woke. And it's proof that it should be. I was thinking I want to make a video about like non-woke diverse characters who are like women or black people or whoever from I kind of want to make a video showing how wokeness is made for weaker female characters, weaker gay characters, weaker whoever. Because it's funny for me personally, all of my favorite characters in any movie, they're all women, but none of them are woke,
Yeah. Name one.
Like Sidney Prescott, Clarice Starling, Beatrix Kiddo, Ellen Ripley. Like all of these are like it's because they're not woke that they were so strong.
Yes.
And especially I was thinking about Silence of the Lambs, especially because they address sexism in that movie, but they don't beat you over the head with it. They let you just like experience what she's experiencing. They just sort of put you in her shoes and let it speak for itself. They're not bashing you over the head with like, women can do anything men can do. Men hate women. White men are bad. Yeah. Like, shut up.
Well, they want us to adopt a false narrative as if there haven't been strong female characters until now. So it's sort of this like, yay, isn't it amazing? We have a female Batman or whatever, it's so great. We finally have a female character. I was like, dude, you're just erasing all of these women in film history. What is wrong with you? Like,
and especially in the horror genre, when they talk about that, it's like the entire horror genre is built upon strong females.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, did you see they did another remake? This was like a year or two ago of Black Christmas.
Yes. I didn't watch it. I saw that they did it. I didn't watch it.
Oh, I watched it. Oh my God. The whole thing. It was just the entire thing was like, men are evil. Men hate women. Men want to kill women because they're men, because you're women.
That's not what the original is about.
No, of course not. It never is.
It's about a psychopath.
Thank you. Thank you so much, dude. Merry Christmas and God bless you both. Aw. Favorite question to ask people: the best movie made of all time. I kind of in the past, so like my favorite movie has always been Empire Records, and it's still up there. And in the past, like Scream was my favorite horror movie, so I felt like it shouldn't be my favorite movie. But like, I gotta go with Scream.
Wow. Really? Of all time?
The Contender is up there too, if you've ever seen the movie The Contender. That's very underrated. But Scream, Scream. Well, Empire Records also, they're like kind of neck and neck.
Smoky Mountain Christmas is a pretty perfect movie. But I don't know. I can't just pick just one. If I had to pick like a really great comedy that I love that holds up, Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure.
Mm-hmm. You know what's an amazing comedy that is so criminally underrated? Have you ever heard of this movie, Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've watched it.
You guys have to watch Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag. It is fucking hilarious. It's Joe Pesci, and he's like a hitman, and he has 8 heads in his duffel bag, and the bags get switched. It's like a very old-fashioned kind of comedy. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite best movie of all time because there's so many different genres. It's like, how do you compare apples and oranges, you know? Like,
you just watch Scream.
Okay, done.
I wish I was in Texas so that we could go see the new one together.
Are you one of these people who considers Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Do you know that I've never actually seen Die Hard?
Wow. Okay.
I know. That's funny too because I've been wanting to watch it the last couple of days. Well, so I'm gonna watch it. I think.
Do it. It's my husband had never seen it, so we watched it this year because everybody's always talking about it and saying it's such a great, Christmas movie. It's just a good action film. That's all. Okay, it's got a lot of great lines.
Kevin and Mike, check your Venmo. Oh, thank you so much, dude. That's so nice of you. You're the best. 1 sec. I'm trying to catch up on chat. Oh my God, people have actually seen 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag? I'm shocked. Yeah, that is like very underrated movie.
Who did you say that? Joe Pesci?
Yes, I love him.
Did you know that he's a singer?
I did because I had dinner at his house when I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old. Yeah, because my grandfather was a singer and he was like a fan of my grandfather and wanted to like play him in a movie or something. So we went to his house for dinner while he was about to release an album that was he made an album as his My Cousin Vinny character. So the best part, I was maybe like 8 or 9 years old. So we're at his house with like his whole family. He's amazing, by the way. He was like telling us stories about like from all his movies. Like he told this story about Home Alone that he had a gold tooth in it. And the guy just like took it out of his pocket and wiped stuff off his pocket and handed it to him. So he told him off. But so anyway, though, so he's making this album as My Cousin Vinny and he plays it for us. And every single song on the album is like, fuck this, fuck that. It was like the funniest thing I had ever heard in my life. And of course, I like, for months after that, drove my parents crazy that I would just be like playing it the entire time.
That is such a funny, I had no idea you had an actual, like an experience with him or an anecdote about him.
He has a Christmas song on it too.
I believe that. Okay. So I just learned that he's a singer. My husband's a musician, as you know, and he knows a lot more about music than I do. And I really respect his opinion about things. And he put him on one day in the car. He's like, do you like this? I'm like, yeah, this is great. Who's this? And he's like, it's Joe Pesci. I'm like, really? Yes, he's a really good singer.
My mom is a jazz or was a jazz singer also, and she and Joe Pesci would like tour together before he was an actor back in the day. Really? He had like a singing duo.
That's amazing.
But he had this Christmas song on that album that was about Santa, and he was like, that fat fuck. It was the funniest thing I've ever heard in my entire life when I was a kid. We were just like, play it on repeat.
Okay, so whatever album that was, that's not the one I heard. I didn't hear the one in character.
I heard he has some serious songs on it too, though.
That's interesting.
He was amazing.
Then
they kept trying to make a movie about my grandfather's life, so I got to like go to dinner at all these people's houses when I was a kid. So John Travolta was about to play him in a movie. They were like moving forward with it until he said he wanted to do his own singing, and my grandfather like went bananas at that suggestion. So that put the stop to that.
Wow. Your grandfather said, no way.
Oh, God, no. What was I going to say? Oh, you know, it's a really good Dolly Parton movie, though, that's really underrated. Have you heard of this movie, Straight Talk?
Yes.
I love that movie. Where she's like,
Straight Talk.
Yeah. She's like a radio DJ that like tells it like it is. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, okay. Since we're talking about movies, then I like this. We're just hanging out. So I could never have this much frivolity on Unsafe Space. We get like short increments. So
that's what you come here for.
She-Devil. Do you know this movie?
Yes.
With Meryl Streep and Roseanne Barr. That is an excellent film. It is an excellent comedy. And if you guys haven't seen that recently, or if you've never seen it, go watch this old movie. It's so funny. And it's about this woman who just is being dealt a bad hand of cards in life and has always been a doormat. And she sets out to get revenge on her cheating husband. And it's really funny. And they're both such great. Meryl Streep is so great in that. It's like I put it in the same. What's the one with Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn? Death Becomes Her.
I was just gonna say that. I love that.
It's in that same kind of field.
That's so funny. You saw this movie. My dad is. I didn't know your dad was in The Devil and Max Devil, and the song at the end performed by Julie Bunn. Julie's my aunt. That's crazy. Not like blood aunt, but like aunt. My dad produced the music for that, so they gave him a cameo in this movie as like the conductor. What's funny though is it's so funny watching this movie in retrospect because Bill Cosby plays the devil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What was I about to say though? Yeah, no, that's what I was saying though, is like, I think maybe because I'm in New York, so I'm so immersed in all this shit that like I need frivolity for extended periods of time because I'm just going insane living here.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me, I got some like nasty comment the other day that somebody was like, oh, just get over it or something about the mandates. And I'm like, it's easy for you to say. And I clicked on her profile and she lives in like Oklahoma or something. I'm like, yeah, it's easy for you to say when you're not affected by it as much.
Sometimes people just, I'm continually fascinated about people who choose to say mean things for no reason. It's sort of like we've all had mean thoughts. I don't often share them. If I see somebody on their wall, they're posting about something I don't like, I just generally ignore it. It's like, what's the point? Or I'll disagree with him, but to say something in a mean, just unnecessarily mean. I don't know. I was thinking about that recently, just how adults behave like children so often, like.
Well, I think a lot of people too think that they're, protected in their red states now. But I feel like you look at New York, you look at California, like this is your future if we don't stop this shit now. Yeah. Even a place like Florida, like I was just thinking the other day, I really want to go there and stuff. But like, think about how close they came to having Governor Meth Head. I mean, a lot of places are like one election away from becoming New York.
I'm very worried about Texas. That's why I'm always saying wrong thinkers should come here because, look, I was wrong about Beto twice before. I hope I'm wrong about him this time. But it does worry me that he's running. He comes from that same factory of like the Trudeau, Gavin Newsom factory, and that they have won elections in other places. And I guess I'm becoming a little scared that Texas has enough of an influx of immigrants from California that we might actually put someone like that in. And that's terrifying.
I think at this point, he's got to be so off-putting to everyone that I'm excited. I'm a little bit excited for him to run again so I can dust off my Beto impression.
Do you know who's so dumb? But actually he's not because people don't pay attention. He was on Twitter the other day criticizing the Texas energy plan and about how, we had the freeze at the beginning of this year, and he was saying Governor Abbott is, adding a tax, some kind of service fee onto your bills. Post your bills and I'll retweet them. And so people were posting their bills, and he was like, look at this extra money. And I looked at them and I did the math real quick, and it was like, wow. So even with that little extra fee, Texans are still paying less per kilowatt hour than the national average. We pay 0.11 cents or something per kilowatt hour in Texas. It's under the national average, even with that fee. So what he was doing was posting bill after bill showing that Texans are saving money on energy, even with that fee. And it's like, dude, what are you trying to show? He's like, look at what's being done to you. Texas energy plan is wrong. I'm like, because we're saving money compared to other states?
Yeah, now do gas prices.
Right.
My friend the other day was driving here to pick me up so we could go to a bar outside of the city, because that's what you have to do now. And he sent me a picture of the gas prices, and it was like over $5 a gallon. It's like $5.60 or something.
Yeah.
That's insane. It's like, that's how you know gas prices are bad, when even people who don't drive are horrified by them. And that's what drives me so insane about these people. I cannot stand these people. It's usually ones who are like libertarians. These people who are just so self-righteous and they want to show how big-brained they are, and are like, oh, the two parties are the same. There's no difference. Really? No difference at all. Go to the gas pump and tell me there's no difference. Go to New York and tell me there's no difference. And it's like, and a lot of these people who post this shit cannot get out of those cities quickly enough. They cannot move to the red state. They go to Texas, they go to Florida, but oh, there's no difference between the two parties or the two sides. Give me a fucking break.
You moved me so much I had to sneeze.
Sorry. For my rant.
I saw you say that, and I agree. Here's the thing. I do believe, and I'm one of these people who I've increasingly seen very little difference between the two parties, except when you're in a place where one has a monopoly, like the one party system, and then it's very apparent that there are some differences. So if you're in San Francisco, if you're in New York City, if you're in Chicago, you will notice differences. But in general, I think the parties are both, I don't know. The reason why that's important to me to point out is because a lot of times people, myself included, want to make idols out of people, out of parties, out of groups. Oh. And I think people tend to be like, well, this tribe is these are the good guys and these are the bad guys. And it's like, I don't think it's that easy.
Oh my God. Wait 1 sec. Hey, Adam. Adam's here.
Oh, hey, Adam.
We love you,
Hi.
dude. You gotta come on here. Yeah, we gotta do one of these thingies soon.
He's the best. I love him. Did he come on in time to see me sneezing?
Probably.
Hi. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Well, about the two parties being so similar.
I was just saying, I get it. Like, yeah, the Republican Party sucks. They're horrible. I always say they're the second worst party of the two parties. But, like, there's a difference. Adam says he saw you sneeze.
No, sorry. Bad tech night, bad health night, lots of things going on. But welcome. I think it's just the reason I talk about it in that way sometimes, and we talk about it that way on Unsafe Space, if there being very little difference, is because a lot of times when people if they're waking up, let's say, from beliefs that they've had since childhood, maybe that they've never interrogated, then sometimes they are stuck in that place of thinking that the world is so easy to look at and say, these are good guys, these are bad guys. And so they also sometimes have their identity wrapped up in what party they're in, or in how they view themselves, like as liberal or conservative or what have you. And so when I talk to people who are in my old cult, it's easier for me they don't want to lose the idea of being on the left. They certainly don't want to be considered to be on the right because they view those as the bad guys. But if you can point out how the system, the two parties are similar in so many ways, it's not like a left or right thing. It's a government versus individuals thing. Then I've had more success getting people to start using their brain and asking themselves questions when you pose it that way, when it's like government versus the people, rather than like, I'm not asking you to make a move from left to right. I'm just asking you to consider what's the role of government and what's their role in terms of individual rights. Are they there to bestow individual rights or to protect them?
See, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just say, I feel like at the moment, who knows, 10, 20 years from now, things could totally flip, as they probably flipped many times in our lifetimes, and then we'll have to reevaluate. But I think at this moment in time, things are so dire. I mean, I don't know if people even realize fully just how dire the situation is and how close we are to losing everything we hold dear in this country, that I really feel like we all just need to team up and rally and get on the same side and work on improving this embarrassment of a party and making them a party that is actually populist, that's actually for liberty, that's actually for the people. But I think that's the only way to accomplish it.
Yeah. The elites use this whole right-left thing, though, to keep people distracted and to keep people fighting. Yeah. And the same way they use race. It's like, if we can divide and conquer and have people, that's like a strategy as old as time. It's sort of keep the little people fighting amongst themselves over what color jersey they're wearing, over Nintendo versus Sega. And then they're not actually going to look at the dynamics of what's happening. Like you said, okay, during the COVID years, you said it's been the largest wealth transfer, right? From small businesses to big corporations. So that's something that traditionally the left should care about. But because they've done such a good job of making the left look at the right as a boogeyman, and Trump was a great boogeyman, they still they don't want to give up their hatred of him. They can't quite quit him.
Yeah.
So
I feel like.
Yeah. So instead of being able to unite around like, hey, what is happening with small businesses, and is it in the best interests of Americans to like shut down all these small businesses but let the big corporations stay open? Instead of uniting around that, they successfully made COVID a right-left thing too. So then they cut off a lot of people on the left. Didn't even, I don't know, they didn't even question those things because they viewed it as, if they questioned it, then that's the Republicans are the ones questioning it.
Yeah.
I can't be a Republican.
What drives me crazy too are just in general, people who worship any politician and don't want to hear criticism of them. That was one of the big things that red pilled me back in the days during the 2016 primary, when I was like a solid Democrat and was just trying to educate myself on Bernie Sanders and Hillary and who to vote for, and whether they were for Bernie or Hillary, no matter what you said, you could not look at them objectively. And now I feel like there's this small group of very vocal people that are that way with Trump, and it's driving me insane because I didn't leave the left for people to do that shit on the right. Like, politics not be above criticism. That's
what I mean about people. See, I don't interact with as many of those conservatives, but every once in a while they come across my feed. I know they exist. They're not usually in my circles for some reason, but it's people making idols out of men, out of politicians or parties or what. And then it's like, oh, this can't be questioned, and you can't treat this person like a human who's fallible because they're a god. Well, they're not a god. They're not a savior. They're a human in a particular role. And if they're not fulfilling that role, if they're doing a bad job of it, you should be able to criticize them. Like, that's how they get better.
And some people, I think I said this before, but it's like some people would rather feel that they're right and they are proven right than be successful. Because like me personally,
what do you mean?
Well, in this situation, I feel like, this might just be my opinion, but I think if Trump runs again, I think it'll be the disaster of all disasters. And I feel, we said, listen to your gut. My gut says very strongly that that's what's going to happen. And it's
you mean people want him to run so they're proven right about something? I'm sorry, I'm just confused.
Well, just that they can't let go of that of personal feelings or personal attachments, you know, like they would
Yeah.
rather, I don't know, then they would rather do that than, I don't know, be successful or, you know, Democrats defeat the left, whatever you want to call it.
Like an emotional attachment to him being the winner or being the answer.
Yeah.
Have you been down? Have we talked about this? Have you investigated Q at all? I finally did. And
no,
did we talk about this?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I've just always thought that it's bullshit, but
this is a great example of, it does crop up on the right too. And I didn't know for a long time, you know, they'll accuse any wrong thinker, even if they're liberal, of being Q. Oh, you're Q, whatever. It's like, dude, I don't even know what that is. And I don't want to look it up because then I'll know. I would rather not know. But I finally did. I finally watched the documentary, which I thought was well done. It had some biases, but it also gave me a lot of information I didn't have. And then I met someone in real life who's a Q person and who spent some time explaining to me what they believe. And it's exactly what you're talking about. It's about people who have put all of their faith in a savior to the degree that they can't, like almost like in a cult where they can't let go of it. And their mind, they'll do mental gymnastics to make it work, even once it has ceased being reasonable. So for example, they believe, Mikey, that Trump is like the president, and that they're holding these secret military tribunals, and that they've been finding people. They believe that Hillary Clinton has already been found guilty and has been executed. And that, yes, they believe Joe Biden is being either held in Guantanamo Bay or has already been executed. And this is an actor, a double. And when I asked, well, why would they be, if that's true, why would they be doing all this in secret? And this person said, well, because the American people aren't ready to hear this yet. And I'm like, but see, that doesn't make sense, because do you think if this were really happening, they're going to be ready to hear it down the road, and also that you killed people? like it doesn't, but it doesn't make sense. But I think it's the mind. The mind doesn't want to give up. I was promised all these things were going to happen. They didn't happen. So the mind would rather stretch itself and perform a lot of, what we call the mental gymnastics, to say, well, it hasn't happened because X, Y, Z, or it is happening, we just don't know about it because there's these secret tribunals. But yeah, they believe a lot of out there stuff, the ones who are still in it.
See, I think many things about this, I guess. But first of all, what I've kind of always thought of the Q thing is that if you look at it as an allegory, it's very profound. As a fictional allegory, there are truths in it, in terms of the deep state and all that. But I think it was kind of intentional in being able to group legitimate issues and legitimate problems in with crazy shit, so now they can call anyone who tries to acknowledge anything about the deep state or about these unelected people who just sit in government for 30, 40 years, or the corruption of any of these institutions. If you try and talk about any of that now, that's Q stuff. So I think that was very deliberate with the people who pushed the Q stuff.
Yeah, I think that they would mix in, well, like a lot of conspiracy theories, or even like cults, they'll mix in truths, they'll mix in actual life lessons with stuff that's not true. And then it's hard for people to separate. Plus, I read this I just looked it up so I could read it to you. I read this great article by this guy who is a game designer. If anybody wants to read this article, it's called A Game Designer's Analysis of QAnon. And I think he's a leftist. He's definitely got a slanted perspective, but that's okay. He has some good facts in here. One of the things he was talking about is this word apophenia. Have you heard this word before?
No, you sound like Carter mentioning words I don't know.
Well, apophenia, I had never heard this before. It's when the mind takes unrelated facts and tries to make connections. And so, for example, as a game designer, he said he was responsible for doing these real life games, like almost like an escape room type of game. And he gave an example of where he created a game once where the participants in the game room, they noticed a bunch of broken tile pieces or something on the floor of this basement they were in. And they thought it was a clue, and they just happened to be arranged. It looked almost like an arrow pointing at the wall, but he hadn't put them there. They weren't part of the game. They just happened to be there. But so all of the game participants got derailed. Instead of finding the actual clue that he had left, the game designer had left in the room, that was very obvious to see, like Scooby-Doo obvious, he says, they became convinced that these little random broken pieces were an arrow pointing to a wall, and they started to try to tear the wall down. Because the mind wants it to make sense, right? Of see this fact here, let me make connections. And I thought that was a really interesting way as a game developer of explaining how Q was fascinating for people, because you're giving them different facts and then also maybe some things that are not facts. But the mind wants to make connections between them all and come up with a story that explains it all. Like if you're in an escape room, you're collecting the clues.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't understand people who can still believe it at this point. I mean, somebody just tweeted me a few days ago, oh, this is all part of the plan, about when it comes to like Trump running again. They're like, oh, this is all part of the plan. Trust the plan. I'm like, oh, how are you still saying this shit? I'm like, first of all, I would be embarrassed to say that if I were you, because if this were a plan, it's the worst fucking plan in the world. Like,
yes.
terrible plan, first of all. Second of all, no. That's not, I don't get it. Sorry, I missed a super chat. Hey, dude. You would have to completely remove the party's senior leadership to effect a change. Yes. They're entrenched in their Cold War era ways and won't change. Yes, God. Term limits are very much needed. I mean, God, just vote all these people out. That would really be the best thing.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't know. I guess I have so little faith now in national elections. I don't know if I'm going to pay as much attention anyway to who runs for president. Yeah. But I am very, very interested now who's on my city council, my school board.
Yes, that's what people should be paying attention to.
Yes, because that's how it spreads. And we had a very woke city council member who just left. Celebration, woohoo. But now we have 2 more running. So there's a lot of work to be done in my little town. I don't want it to become Austin. And I think everybody needs to start paying attention to that, which I know a lot of people are. I'm going to give you a heads up. I'm starting to feel feverish.
Yes, totally. We're going to
and I think I need to just go take
if anyone has any final questions, super chats, whatever. What was I about to say? Oh, yeah, well, that's another thing in terms of Trump running again. Like, first of all, I don't know that I trust any elections at all now, but I have to remain hopeful that someone else could have a strategy, could have a team that they can put together that can be very competent. We need competence is what we need. So yeah, that's another thing I don't understand, that like if you think there was cheating in 2020, which of course I think, what's going to happen the next time? If he couldn't do anything to prevent it, what's going to happen the next time? They're just going to choose to not cheat, or I don't understand. To me, the whole thing just feels like the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wait one sec though. Hey dude, my friend Christian Watson is here.
Oh, hi, Christian.
Need to meet because you would love
I know. And hey, since I'm doing catch ups with people, I owe him a message, and I am sorry. I've had a lot going on, Christian.
I've been telling both of you about each other, how awesome each other are.
I really want to talk to you, and I hope everyone just grants me forgiveness for if I've been slow. We've been in the middle of selling this house and moving into the other one, and I've been very distracted. But
I have to call you.
Also. Hello, sir.
I miss you.
Also, I see little Ragamuffin there. She says,
"Bring back the frivolity." This is getting too deep state.
Yeah, we can go back to talking about Dolly Parton if you want.
What's frivolous in our lives? Tell us something frivolous.
Let's see. What's something fun? Well, we've been planning our kitchen renovation at this old house that was built in 1914, and so I've been looking on eBay at a lot of old stoves from the 1930s and 40s, trying to find one that's not too crazy, that needs some work. Because if they're renovated, they're super expensive. But if you find one that's like rusted out that you can maybe fix up yourself, you get a good price on it. So that's exciting. I've been looking at a lot of, is this what people do in their 40s? I've been looking at the like home renovation channels. Like, let's look at backsplashes.
I told you your life goals.
So I'm figuring all that stuff out, and then I just like old things. I know you know this about me. This is pretty cool. I showed this on Unsafe Space, but
she's the most wonderful decorator.
Look at this. So this is a really old book called Complete Home, and I wanted one of these for a while, but they're always really expensive when I see them at vintage stores. Look at the gold leaf on here. And it's a book about how to basically organize your home, like how to have, take care of your children within the home, how to do decorating, industry in the home. And it's got all these beautiful art pieces in the middle. And anyway, long story short, there's this bookstore in Austin that it's like surplus from the library. And so they sell all the hardbacks there are $1. And the paperbacks are 50 cents. And it's
my God.
Yes.
Leah, this would be like the porn store for.
Oh, Leah, you would love this. Well, those were the December. That was a December
That's
special.
Like her version of a sex shop.
Okay, so usually paperbacks are $1, hardbacks are $2, but I'm talking about beautiful art books. We got all these like books about Mozart and stuff for like $1. Is that crazy? So anyway, I'm pretty happy I found this old book. I've just been reading advice on how to.
I have so much to say. Because like it's like my two favorite things that we're talking about you're talking about your kitchen as someone commented about Scream. So like Scream and food. My brain was about to burst. You have a dream kitchen. Oh my God, your kitchen at the new house. You need to have me there. So I'll be like your personal chef. I want to come cook for you. Once you get all your stuff.
Dude, let me tell you, we are going to have room for guests all the time. I'm very excited about that. So yeah. And we're going to eventually build a stage in the back so he can have musicians over for shows who are traveling. And there's an old church.
Bring Peter and have him do like I've been trying to get him to do stand-up.
Peter's like a jack of all trades. He does music, podcasting, stand-up. Does he write?
Yeah, well, he hasn't really done stand-up, but I've been telling him he should. Also, I love you. Thank you. Scream 5 will never be frivolous. I love you. Thank you. Oh, shit, I'm not wearing pants, but I love you. I'm so excited. Oh, my God, I'm so excited. It's going to be amazing.
Mikey, you cheered me up so much while I'm sick. Thank you.
I love you. I love talking to you.
I already feel better. I'm going to go take a bath.
Yeah, I need to shower. This is like the one room in my house that's killer hot, so I'm like all sweaty and gross. Oh wait, we have one last enlightening conversation. More, please. Was it? Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna do more of these, and you need to come on more, my love. And I just need to see you more because I love you.
I want to see you more. This year was good though. 3 times. Put in your journal next year 4 times.
Oh my God. No. I have underwear on. Oh, anyway.
Tubin.
I know to shut the camera off.
Oh my.
I'm still employed.
Thank you, Christy. She says, prayers you feel better. Thank you.
Yes.
I think it's just a cold. Wait, remember back when we used to get colds and didn't freak out? I'm trying to remember that.
Did you see that? Did you see that headline that was like the flu is back after it took a year off?
Right. What happened?
How are people this stupid? I don't get it.
Yeah. It's what we talked about. It's the brain willing to do mental gymnastics because it can't give up a belief. There are some beliefs there's a book called Don't Think of an Elephant. It was written by a lefty. I read it when I was a lefty. But it's, even though he was writing it about the right, it applies to anyone. He was trying to explain how if somebody has has like deeply held foundational beliefs, you can give them facts and they'll just discard them. Because if you think about your belief system as a house, you're trying to get them to change a window, but it's like their whole system, their foundation needs to be fixed first. And so that's true with both sides. It's like people will just discard stuff because they'd rather hold on to their foundational beliefs. It's like, oh, the flu took a year off. Does that make sense? That, that's what they have to, you're asking them to update their window in their house. And they're like, I can't do that, because they don't want to give up their foundational beliefs.
Wait, I have to say, we took Poetry Painter's YouTube live stream chat virginity. I'm honored.
Hi, Poetry Painter. That's cool.
I'm so honored for that. Thank you. That is awesome. Keri, before we go, what is one thing you hope for yourself in 2022? Because this year is going to be awesome. This year, you guys, for all of us, I'm willing this into existence. Like, this is going to be an epic year for all of us. We can only do so much to change the circumstances of everything, but we can make it good in our own lives. And that's what we're going to do.
So I would like to have a baby. And if you pray, say a prayer for me, because I'm an old lady. But yeah, that's a very personal thing that I would like. So we'll see what happens.
Am I going to be an uncle?
I'd have to just move in and be my au pair. Is that the word? My Texas au pair.
You would be such a good mom. You will be.
I think so. I used to think I wouldn't. And I think that's part of the reason I waited so long, is I had a lot of false negative beliefs. But yeah, I would love that. So if you do prayers, say that. And if you don't do prayers, just send a positive thought.
I'm gonna tell my mom to pray about it, because she's a witch. She wills shit into
okay, good. She's a good witch. What's on your list?
I want to work a lot. I want to make a lot of things. I want to make more shit in 2022 than I have ever before. Videos, writing, other stuff.
Good.
I want to
you
be
can
very
totally accomplish that. So what do you need to do that? Consistency?
Yes. Willpower,
yes.
Less doubt, etc.
Overcoming doubt. That's it. Pray for that.
That's what this year's about.
You pray.
I'm going now. Oh, I love you so much, Keri.
I love you. Have a happy rest of your year.
I missed you guys. I'm going to do more of these. I'm going to have a video out tomorrow about the Sex of the City. I'm waiting for the new episode to come out tonight, and I have to add that chapter in. It's apparently the transgender episode. So, oh my
gosh, they're doing the greatest hits.
Yeah,
every episode of wokeness.
Oh, I love you guys so much. We're gonna do this again very soon.
Bye, guys. Bye, Mikey.
Love you. Good night.